guys, welcome.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Today we have a magnificent seminar for you today. My name is Willie Adolph. To my left here is my beautiful wife, Tikila Adolph.
Hi, I'm Tikila Adolph. How are you today?
So, how you doing?
Today we're doing a home buying seminar, and basically, home buying is easy as one, two, three. But the main thing about home buying is you have to know what to do and have some kind of guidance and support system.
Exactly. Well, Tequila and I are licensed real estate agents in the state of Texas. So we actually been around. We started back in 2002. We and mortgages, and then also with credit repair. So we kind of understand the steps of purchasing a home from beginning to end.
Basically, we started in the real estate industry because we didn't know what to do.
Exactly.
We didn't have a support system, and unfortunately, we became homeless out of it. Um, but by the grace of God, we purchased two homes and still living in our biggest investment, our home that we dreamed on a vision board. And it's all because of education and helping others. We feel that God empowers us with certain gifts and purposes. And right now, at this time, we have to acknowledge those gifts. And our gift is to help people purchase real estate.
Exactly. Even with, not so perfect credit, or, okay credit, we can definitely help you get you on the track and see which way we need to go. Because sometimes when you're purchasing a home, you have to understand where you are at that moment. It may not be time for you to purchase. You may need to rent for a little while and then build up to that point to where you can purchase your first home.
Yes, that's a good point because a lot of times we wait till the last minute and then it's like a month before the end of our lease, or we decide that we want to buy a house and don't even know what's going on with our credit, what's out there in the community to even purchase. And we just go out there willy nilly.
That's cute.
All right. So let's get started. We wanted to walk you through the home buying process. This is just a checklist. What we want you to do is connect with us, and then that way we can move forward on the actual process.
Yes, definitely. Home buying is easy as one, two, three. So, as we start off, and we did mention, first thing you really need to do is know what your credit is. How does it stand? What's on your credit? If you don't know what's on your credit, you definitely need to figure it out, find out. There's so many different ways to find out what's on your credit. You can actually go to annual report credit annualreport.com to get a free credit report once a year. But it won't give you the scores, and so it just tells you what you want on your credit. Or you can get a credit monitoring service, which will definitely go more in depth detail about what's on your credit. And there's some other ideas of credit monitoring that will give you certain scores. But you definitely want to know what's on your credit. Because a lot of people say, well, I have bad credit. Well, how do you know you have bad credit? Well, I know I didn't pay such and such and such and such. Well, yeah, we do understand that, but there is a statute of limitation to where how far it goes back to grade your credit. And what we want to make sure is that you understand that. Because just because you haven't paid anything on time doesn't mean that you are stuck at where you're at. Always remember it's fixable.
Well, the question that we always get about credit is I went to Credit Karma and my scores are 650.
Well, great. And and as I said before, there's different ideas and different monitoring service. And with Credit Karma, that's going to give you a snapshot of what's on your credit. It's a great tool. It'll tell you what's on your credit, who's applied for your credit, who's inquiring about your credit. But you always got to remember those scores are different from when you go to a mortgage company. There will be a variance in between the two scores. So you want to make sure first, as you're doing your credit, you get with a mortgage officer, and that will give you an idea of what to do.
Um, you have you work with a restoration company. Is there any way that you could tell them your tips on what they need to do to sign up for that?
Right. Well, with us, you can definitely go on to our credit repair, um, and just go in and kind of get an idea. We have education services there. Plug in at www.theadolphgroup.com and then go where it says credit, and it'll definitely take you directly where you need to go. It also will show you, once you sign up, it'll give you the ins and out. You'll also have the credit monitoring. You'll also have the alerts. You'll have your own portal. You'll have certain things that can actually help you with your credit. We also have credit attorneys on site to help as well if it needs to get to that situation.
That's awesome, Willie. Tell us about renting and purchasing.
Well, is it better to rent or is it better to purchase? And to answer your questions, it's better for the situation you're in at the moment because everybody that wants a home is maybe not really ready for a home because you have to understand the ins and out of each one. Renting a home is something that can prepare you for owning a home. You can understand the liabilities and everything that it takes to upkeep a home and also maintain a home because a lot of people that come from an apartment has to change their mindset because you just can't pick up a phone sometimes and say, hey, my garbage disposal is broke. Can you fix it? Well, there's certain things that you can get warranties and stuff like that to help cover it. But these are some of the things you're going to have to be more in tune with. Keeping up with your own lawn. People are not going. You can always pay somebody to keep it, but you also got to where you're at. Why are you renting? And if you're renting, you need to start. If you're planning on purchasing a home, you need to put a plan into place, and that's something that we can definitely help you with.
Well, you're saying about renting and purchasing. Um, I also wanted to put in there maybe you might need to sit back and get into an apartment. It is not so bad to rent or lease an apartment, which www.theadolphgroup.com. We help with apartment leasing, renting, and purchasing. So it's baby steps to get to what your dream is. And of course, establishing that dream on paper will get you closer to making it reality.
But once you're in that situation and ready to purchase, that's a great step because now you're actually building an investment, not just for you, but for your legacy.
All right. So what happens during the loan process? Well, I'm ready. I've already rented, already leased. What happens next?
Well, once you go through the loan process, you want to make sure that the loan officer is willing and able to pre-approve you based on your income. So you got to go through that, go to your local bank, credit union, or a mortgage loan officer. There are several different ones out there. We do have resources, but if you have your own, great. But you want to get with them first so you know where you are and what kind of buying power that you have because you don't want to go look for a home first, fall in love with it, and then go to the bank and they say, oh, well, Mr. Ma'am, you can't qualify for this particular home. So you definitely want to go and talk to a mortgage loan officer before you start looking.
And remember, communication is the key. You have the biggest investment of your life. Well, I mean, maybe the start, but you want to make sure that you're in good hands. So if you haven't gotten a response from your loan officer within 48 hours, let your real estate agent know. If they're busy, call that person. Remember, they have your personal items, they have your income documents, they have your credit report. That this is it is their job to make sure that they give you answers. That loan officer will determine your buying power. They will tell you how much you pay per month, what you qualify for, and exactly what needed towards the loan process.
And exactly. And you have to remember, some people are very cautious, I'll say, about giving out their personal information. But you have to understand the reason why they ask for these things is because they are the gatekeeper to the mortgage, to the loan. Because if they're giving you 100 to 500,000 or more $1,000, they're going to want to know everything about you, how long you've been on your job, how much do you make, and things like that.
Give them everything besides your blood. They're giving you a bunch of money. Answer their questions,
Right.
please.
And sometimes, we are human. So there's times where they may ask you again, hey, I need this. You'd be like, well, I just turned it in. Guess what? It's okay. Give it to them again. So they just want to make sure that everything, all your I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and put you on the right path to own your own home.
Okay, so we got this loan approval. I got my real estate agent. What I want to get a home, but I don't know. Should I get a new construction home or should I get a resale home?
That's a great question. There's pros and cons to each one of them. And basically, what are you looking for? For a resale home, you're basically looking at homes that people already lived in. We don't know the problems that's in that home. Of course, when you purchase your resale home, we would very strongly suggest that you get a home inspection so you can have an idea of what's going on in that home. But everything in that home, it can still be yours. It can have a lot of space. It can be nice and cozy. It can actually, fit your functionality of how you're living right now. And for a new construction home, guess what? You can build it from ground up. You can color the brick, the countertops, the floors,
Where you want it?
how you want it. Now there are some limitations to the
Mhm.
new construction. Now when you start digging in saying, hey, I want that wall here, I want it over there. Now you're going into custom new construction, and that can become a little pricey. So you want to make sure that you look at each one and what's going to fit for you and your family. Is it going to be functional? Especially in these times while we're at home, you want to make sure you have enough room or extra room to maybe work from home, or enough room or enough space to where if you have kids that are being homeschooled, they can have an area for themselves as well. And you can look at that in resale homes because they do have it in there as well.
Yes, typically I've heard that too. You can have more space in the resale home than the newer home.
Well, it
So
all depends. It all depends on where you live in and where and what you're looking at. Loan approval. Now what? So now you've talked to your loan officer. You've given them all your supporting documents, and now you're approved for a home. So what do we do now?
So basically, at this point, you have the loan approval. We looked at a house, but you might not know what happens next. What we're going to do is that's where your real estate agent comes in. We're the support system just for you. And what we do is we take that loan, we negotiate a contract. Typically, there's an option period, and that's your due diligence period. And what that means is you given that seller a certain amount of money for a certain amount of days for you to conduct due diligence, whether it's a new home, a new construction home, or a resale home. Definitely use a home inspector. Your real estate agent typically have a list of inspectors and a list of questions of what to ask. It's very important that you have someone check the insides of your home to make sure that anything can happen. You just want to know the ins and outs. And that's what that inspector is for. And that's your inspection period. After that, we turn it over to the loan officer and say, we're ready to go. What needs to be done will get fixed. Or, I'm sorry, that's not the house for us, and the contract is canceled. If we move forward, the loan officer will take that contract, it will go to the title company, and then it'll also go to their underwriting. At that point, the underwriter will look at the property, get an appraisal, and will also look at your information, combine the two, and say, we're ready to go.
All right, let me put in on that. So when you do that and we find all that and ready to go, and you guys just got to make sure that know that it is a big step. It is very scary sometimes, but know having a real estate agent in your corner helps you with a lot of the legal contracts and making sure the verbiage. And as you hire one, you as a buyer, you don't pay. You don't pay. So just remember that the agent that's representing you is in your corner for you.
Awesome. What is closing and funding?
So closing. So now we went through the process. You got your home inspected. Everything was looking good. Negotiations was good on the pricing. Uh, there was no issues on the home itself. You're very, very happy now. And now it's time to close. Well, on closing day, you will get a notification, um, for sure 3 days prior, that and making sure that your money is right, making sure all the fees that was disclosed to you at the beginning was taken care of. And all that is done. Then you go to the title company and to actually sign your documents. Now, the title company actually, uh, they make sure that there's no liens on the home and that they're going to be insuring it for the amount of money that you're going to be spending. So once you do all that and you sign, you want to take time to read the documents. You just don't want to fly through them. And if you don't understand, ask, ask, and continue to ask until you do understand it, because you don't want to sign a contract and be stuck into something that you don't understand, and then later on you find out that it's something that you really didn't like. So once you do all of that, now you go to funding, and after you sign, you sit there. The title company take all the paperwork, sign, and they submit it to the loan to the bank. So once they submit it back to the bank is going to verify some things before they fund. Some of the things that they verify is, one, they'll repull your credit probably to make sure that you haven't accumulated any debt or any more inquiries. Yes, inquiries, meaning, hey, I'm getting a new home. I'm gonna go ahead and this furniture card right before. So all we have to do is go ahead, be ready, so we don't have to get ready, and just have new furniture sitting at the doorstep once we get there. Don't do that.
Or after I get this house, my credit is fixed. I want that new car.
make sure make sure before you do any of those things that the deal is funded. That means the bank has given the title company a wire so they can wire out to the seller, and they can get their money, and then you receive your keys. Just because you sign at closing does it's not over with. So whatever you do before closing, it will come back. So make sure you don't inquire for no new loans. You don't want to have anyone really repull your credit unless it's the loan officer themselves. And you have to be very dedicated to that and disciplined. So once it's funded, that's when you actually get your keys and get to enjoy your new home.
Congratulations. Sorry. In conclusion, what's next, Willie Adolph?
In conclusion,
I got him.
always know that real estate agents are on your side.
Mm-hmm.
We're not here to fight against you. We're not here to be in your business. We're not here to tell you what you can and what you can't get. We're only here for suggestions and make sure that you don't fall into any kind of traps or anything and hurt you financially in the long run, because we are here for you. Majority of the agents, they're going to represent their side. So you have to remember, if you go in and you see a sign on the yard, and you call that sign, and the same agent that represents you represents the seller, you might want to just kind of do a background check and really look at it, because who's really fighting for you? You want somebody who's going to negotiate the deal. You want somebody who's going to make sure that is looking out for the best of your interests, making sure that, hey, I'm covered here. And that's what an agent
Even
is
with
for.
the new house?
Even with the new, well,
Because I like to look at houses. So I go into these new houses and they say they don't need a real estate agent. I can get a better deal without an agent.
well, that could be a catch 22 on that. So I'm not going to go deep into that. But what you do want somebody to do is to be on your side. You wouldn't want, just imagine, um, you're going to be represented by somebody and they're representing the other party. How would you feel? That's basically what you need to really focus yourself on. Who's representing you? Who's helping you? And then here's another one. It's like, well, I bought a home before. I already know the ins and outs. That's great. But have you read an updated contract? Is it really better for you to do this on your own? Because being by yourself and doing this, I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying you're not the best negotiator. I'm not saying that you don't know how to read. But what we are saying is we want to make sure that you're covered because as we read things, and even in movies and stuff, and think about this: how many books have you read? How many times have you reread it and you're like, oh man, I didn't remember
I
that?
just I just caught that. And I always say compare yourself. I we're as real estate agents, we are professionals and we hold a certain code of ethics that we help you and negotiate and do the best thing for you. As buyer's agent and representing you, we're like a lawyer. You could go to court by yourself, you could fight your case and do all that, but why? You're not paying us. We're here to help, and we don't get paid till the deal is done, basically.
Right. And you got to understand, this is where we are. We're here for you. We're from the beginning to the end. The Adolph Group, we actually have a team of agents that will be able to help you in different aspects. We have tons of resources to help you get to that next step. So just always remember to have someone in your corner to help.
Contact
Well, how can we contact you?
us. You can contact us at www.theadolphgroup.com, and basically there's tabs for all kind of information. Also, our book. We have a book regarding home buying, and also if you choose to sell your home. You can contact us directly by phone, 281-914-7447, or directly at buyadolph@outlook.com. That will get you directly to us also with the phone for information.
Correct. And if you have information about if you need help with credit, um, you can contact that same number and we will definitely help you, to the best of our abilities. Not saying we know everything, but the things that we don't know, we definitely will find an answer for you to make sure that you're comfortable with your next move.
All right. So,
So, guys, another thing you just, what we always suggest is write down what you want in your home. How do you want your home to look? This is very, very key and very important to the home buying process because if you don't know what you're looking for, how are you going to love what you can't find? So it's always to go in. If you're looking for a 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath, or you're looking for a 3 bedroom with 2 bath, how do you want your kitchen layout to be? These are very important things because when you walk into that home, you want to have that chill moment, that feel that, oh, this is what I work for. I work hard for this.
all right. Question and answering time. We got a couple of questions here in the chat, and please feel free to ask questions because we're here for to answer them. First question: typically, how long does the home buying process take once you find a home?
That question is the $1 million question because honestly, it takes us as long as it takes for you to fall in love with the home that we introduce you to. You have to understand, you can see several homes, but every home is not for you.
Okay, so you found the home, and it's going to be based again, like my husband said, on you. At that point, we turn everything over to the loan officer, and the loan officer say, "Hey, I need this, I need that." The underwriter might come back with more than one decision. Getting those items together and prepared. The typical process and contract on a resale home or a new construction inventory home that's already there is 30 to 45 days. If you're getting a home built, that's going to be based on the builder. And usually a home is 3, 4, 5, 6 months, depending on what home that you want. And remember, at this point, your real estate agent is helping, checking in. The Adolph Group, we actually have a team. So we have a coordinator that also works with us in case the agents are out showing homes to another client. You still have that contact person in order to keep going on what's going on your home buying process. What credit score do I need to buy a home?
Well, that kind of varies. There's so many different loans out there, loan programs, and basically depending on the the institution that you choose to give you the loan, it will determine. You have some if you have enough money down, they can go, 580 and below, a little bit below. But the typical thing right now, they're looking in between the 620 to 640 range. But as I said before, they do have loans out there that's at 580 that can help you get into your loan. But you also got to understand when you go into a credit score, everybody say, "Well, I got a 650 credit score." But here's the problem: how's your debt? We have to keep everything at a balance because if you have more debt coming in rather than going out, 9 times out of 10 the bank is not going to do it. Well, I'm going to make sure my mortgage is paid. Well, we understand that, but at the same time, the banks are going to look at numbers and the comfortability of them loaning you that type of money.
And another thing on credit score, we also have banks that doesn't look at credit score. They look actually at your debt ratio and the reserves you have. And those type of loans that they offer are 100% loans. And we also have resources to help with closing costs. So you typically only come to the table with your earnest money, and sometimes you get that back at closing.
Depending, yes, that's correct.
What's the first step in buying my home? Do I find my house first?
Um, our opinion, I would
The
always
easy way.
no, I would say the first step is know where your credit is. Find out your buying power. As I mentioned before, you don't want to find a home, then come back and realize you can't get that because of the price point. So the first step is really to talk to a mortgage loan officer to see where your buying power is at, so we can definitely help you and guide you to the wrong way, to the right way, to the right house, and not to the wrong price point. So you always have to go to the loan officer, get your pre-approval, and pre-approval. Let me explain that. People say, "Well, I'm pre-qualified." Pre-qualified and pre-approval are two different things. Pre-qualified means based on the information I told you, this is where you're at. But pre-approval means based on the information you supplied. That means you gave all your supporting documents. That's what banks and that's what a lot of sellers, home owners require.
Awesome. Any other questions? Does it cost to hire you as a real estate agent? That's always an important question. And basically, it depends. A lot of real estate agents, um, majority of real estate agents do not charge upfront costs. The Adolph Group at Equity House Properties, we don't charge as a buyer's agent. Also, we don't charge to help you look for a rent home. We don't charge to help you look for an apartment. But on the selling side, if you choose to sell your home, there is a cost associated. All costs are negotiated, and what you get on a one-on-one basis, we can go into further on the cost on that. But as purchasing a home and renting and leasing, there's no cost on your end in hiring a real estate agent to help you.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I charge. This is what I charge: a referral fee. Meaning, we put you in your home, refer us. Let us know about how the
Oh,
service
that's good.
that you have, and that's the only thing because we can't help others if you don't allow us.
Hmm. Exactly. I live in an apartment. When should I start the process of home buying? Now. Now, basically, you have to know where you're at. If by chance you start and the loan officer say you're ready to go, then at that point you have a decision to say, um, do I have enough reserves ready? When is my lease over? And working with the Adolph Group at Equity House Properties, we do lease buyouts, meaning that if there's a couple of months left on your lease, or maybe 1 month and you're just ready to go, we will purchase that buyout, and restrictions allowed. There are certain guidelines toward that, but we will help you. So there in but and saying that on the opposite end, if you're not ready, at least you have a time frame on when to get ready. If you just started your lease on an apartment and you realize that your scores aren't where you want to be, or you might qualify for an amount that you're not comfortable with and you want to qualify for a higher amount, then at that point, the loan officer and your real estate agent can help you on a time frame in order to get where you want and the amount you want to get in your home.
Exactly. So just know that the time is your time. There's really no perfect time, but the time when you know that you're ready.
I've heard you had a book. How can I get that?
Well, you can go to www.theadolphgroup.com, and on there you can click on, learn how I want a book. And actually you click on there, give us some information, and we can actually have it sent to you.
And in the book, it's going to pretty much say what we said, but also give some more details on how to interview a real estate agent. It will give you details um, on the actual process again of what we discussed earlier, and it'll also give you some scenarios of real life situations of what went wrong
Right.
without a real estate agent. So it's a really good book to have. So go to www.theadolphgroup.com. Also, if you contact us directly, we will make sure that we will get a book straight out to you.
Exactly. So just, www.theadolphgroup.com actually has a lot of different resources on there. So you can definitely browse around there and see what's on there for you that can fit you.
Can you discuss some of the things I need to have in line to buy a home regarding income and all of that such?
Okay, so when you get ready to buy your home and your income, basically you want to make sure you have check stubs ready from your job. You want to make sure that you're going to be having bank statements. Now, the one thing that the bank will go by, depending on the loan program you are on, because they have different loan programs for different people because there are so many wide varieties of how you get paid. So let's say for instance you get a W-2 where taxes are taken out. The bank is gonna ask you for at least 2 months of check stubs. And then until the loan is complete and funded, they're gonna probably want updated check stubs, one, to make sure that you're still making the same amount, to make sure that there hasn't been a decrease. Overtime counts only if you've been receiving it for 2 years. Then they can factor that in, and also with your bonuses, if that's in your price, in your range that you do receive bonuses. Another thing is they're going to be looking at least 2 months of bank statements, which you definitely want to try your best to do. And like I say, life happens, and we do understand. You don't want to have any insufficient funds because that can kind of throw the whole thing out. Yes, we understand the situation that we're in now, but at the same time, insufficient funds shows the bank a different side that they don't like to see. So that can be definitely an eyesore for the underwriter. Another program is 1099. I don't have taxes taken out. I don't have W-2s. Well, depending on the lender, as I said, different lenders have different programs. They may do a 12-month bank statement or a 24-month bank statement, meaning when you get your money, you're going to have to put it in the bank to show that you've done it. Now, what they will want to see is tax returns. And the good bad thing about tax returns when you're self-employed is we understand when you're self-employed, you want to write off as much as you want, as much as you can, so you don't have to pay high taxes. But the catch to that is if you are writing off everything, that shows very little income that you make. They don't go off your gross, they go off your net.
Also, in saying that they will counterbalance both of those things. So, I mean, you turn in your tax returns and you know that you make a lot of money, but in being a responsible adult and who they're trusting, giving you 100 to $200,000 to, they can see that you are putting your money into the bank and you are being a good steward of your finances. So don't just get all upset because your tax returns aren't showing the amount that you make. Your bank statements, on the other hand, will show that, and they will take that into consideration. So just make sure that you're being good stewards of your money, um, and everything that they ask for, you just give it to them.
Exactly.
Are there any programs that help with closing costs and down payments?
Yes, there are quite a few now because of the situation of what's going on in America. Sometimes they do get cut off. I'm not saying they ran out of money. It's just because the grants and things and down payment assistance sometimes have to see how the economy is going. To really get these down payments, depending on which grant and which organization you're receiving it from, you may have to take a class. Um, or, you know, you're definitely going to have to maybe be in a certain income bracket. You also going to have to make sure that your scores are where they need to be to qualify. So the thing is, with majority of the home buying uh, assistance, you're going to need roundly around a 640,
640.
a 640 plus to get this. And the thing, the catch to it is that you can't have a lot of debt. They have their own guidelines. So, say for instance, example, the bank can say, "Hey, I'm going to approve you for X amount of dollars," um, but your debt ratio, your debt ratio is a little bit high, but we can still approve you. Now, when you add the down payment assistance program, their underwriters is going to probably say this is too much. You're going to need to pay this down, this off, and that off. And if you're not able to do it at that time, then you have an idea of what you can work on and maybe how long it can take. So you definitely want to get with your loan officer because they can go into deeper details for which down payment assistance program is best for you.
Good answer. How do I figure out how much of a house I can afford and what will my mortgage be? Again, that is a question, an awesome question, but it's a question for your loan officer. And that's going to be based on once you turn in all of your income statements, anything that they ask for, a request, you fill out their application and they check your credit. They're going to determine that. They're going to determine how much of a house you can buy. They're going to actually give you some numbers on what you can afford on paper, your monthly mortgage. They will also help you with insurance, home insurance, because that'll be added, and also the taxes on that particular property in that area. All of those will be given to you from the loan officer based on how much money you make, what is your debt that you have. They also will tell you an estimate of your closing costs on what you need to bring to the table, the reserves you need to have just in case.
So we're here to more facilitate on the real estate side. And then, as I said, we do have partners and resources that can help you with the final number part. And they can be more specific and more in tune in detail because they're going to look at your credit report. They're going to look at all your debt. They're going to look at what's coming in, what's available, and things like that. So that's how they're really going to determine how much and what your monthly mortgage payment can be. So and another thing is as you're going through this process and say, hey, I'm renting and how can I get my scores up because I really don't, I have credit cards I've been paying on time. Well, here's a tip. If you're, say for instance, your credit card is $500, you want to keep it under $150. That number is just didn't magically come out of my head, but it's a 30% of your debt utilization. So basically, if you get your credit cards and your revolving credit like that, you look at your balance. So, hey, I got a credit card for $500. Well, look at it, you only have 150 of it to spend. You want to make sure that you do not pass that 30% threshold because now they're going to look at you as you're living off of credit and not being a good steward of the money. So you want to make sure you keep that low. Just, as we say, a suggestion, we've seen tricks and tips of, paying it down, maybe leaving a small balance on there to see your scores jump up right away. But at the same time, you don't want to be late. Uh,
What about if I just pay it all off? I have zero balance.
I just said that.
No, you
I,
said
I said,
to keep a balance on there,
I
but what
said,
if I already paid everything off?
we'll go buy a pack of bubble gum.
Okay, there you go. Don't close good accounts. I've seen that happen, and unfortunately, scores drop dramatically when they've closed their credit.
Right. So there's different ways of having your credit rating, and basically one of them is your length of credit time. And had something, say for instance, you had your credit, and it was in good standing. Don't have it removed off your credit report because that does actually show the banks that you are capable of paying things off.
I love that question. So the next question is, do I pay off my old debt on my credit report before I get pre-approved to raise my score? No. Talk to a loan officer or a loan officer first. Is to purchase a home. They will guide you and give you suggestions on what to pay off. So you're spending money on old debt that's not going to affect your credit at all. And even credit restoration companies will tell you, pay this off, pay that, make a negotiation. They're not the bank. So again, get with a real estate agent. And I might get loud because I'm so adamant about that because that's what happened to us. We didn't know. We didn't know. So we strongly suggest that you speak to your bank or the loan officer that your real estate agent suggests because they're the ones giving you money. They know what they're looking for. And that loan officer would say, this is not your time. I need you to do this, this, and that. Or they could say, we're ready to go right now and we're going to help guide you toward buying your home.
Definitely. So when you do that, just make sure um, you do speak with somebody. We're not saying not to pay off your bills, but what we are saying, make sure you pay off the right ones first. You because they may also be a time where the loan officer say, "Hey, I need you to pay this down or pay it off." But guess what? If you negotiate it and pay it off, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. They'll know. Does my real estate agent help me find a loan officer?
Yes, we can. Real estate
We
agents can. They're able to,
we will
but
offer
we
suggestions.
will always offer suggestions. We'll also offer you multiple officers so you can have someone to choose from because everybody is not everybody's fit. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure that when you talk to these people that you're comfortable with choosing that loan officer. So the ones that we do recommend are some that we work with. So don't feel like, hey, well, we have to stay with them.
Mm-hmm.
No, but if someone says, hey, at your credit union or at your bank, and they say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we could do this, that's fine. That's perfect. And because that can work out in your benefit, because if you already have a relationship with the bank, that can probably make the deal go a lot smoother and a lot easier.
How much money should I save before I start the home buying process?
That's one of the best questions in this whole thing. The money that you want to save is one is enough for rainy days, and that's called reserves. So typically, let's just say you're getting a $200,000 house, and your payment is maybe right at 2,000. Well, you want to save something in the bank for just in case, for life, something happens. Um, you know, 2 to 3 months. That's what we suggest. But the bank could actually definitely tell you what's that magic number because each bank is different. You also want to look at the minimum down payment going through, depending on which loan you go through, is usually about 3.5% typically. There are some that may be 3%, some that may be 2%. It's a case by case scenario and based on your credit scores. That's how it's kind of determined on what you want to do. Also, you want to know how much you don't have to put 20% down to own a home. You don't have to save 20% to own a home. But the thing is about the 20% rule is private mortgage insurance. If you do put 20% down, you will not have private mortgage insurance. Now, private mortgage insurance is the bank way of insuring their money that they loan to you. They're loaning you 200 plus thousand dollars, and they're going to insure that money for as long as that loan is.
All right. Do we have any other questions?
So the process is really not that difficult. It is stressing. It can be scary because it is one of the biggest investments that you're going to make. And as you grow into it, that investment may become even bigger. What you always want to try to do is look at it as a business side of view as well. Who can you leave it down to? Because you can leave it to your parents, your kids, your cousins, your friends. It can be a legacy for you. And it also can generate income once you get the process and start moving up. So always look at real estate as something that's going to enhance your later in the future because it is definitely a moment at some time, especially the beginning.
Another thing that I also want to reach out and let you know that We're professionals, we're licensed professionals. And also, if you're interested in becoming a real estate agent, please let us know. We're always looking to help educate and put more buying power and more education toward the real estate industry. So we welcome you if you want to pursue real estate investing or to be a real estate agent. You can reach us.
at www.theadolphgroup.com or 281-914-7447, or you can shoot us a quick email at byadolph@outlook.com, because we're not hard to get a hold of. We do answer our phones, and a lot of times we are with clients and we are doing other things. But you will get a text back saying, "Hey, I'm with someone." Because at the same time, you got to remember, if I was with you, would you want me to pick up the phone?
Exactly. Oh, that's good. Good job, Willie. Oh, you're
You're welcome.
welcome. Thank you for joining, guys. We sure appreciate you and spending this time to get a little education, but also knowing that there's people out there that are willing to help you and reach out towards the real estate industry. Again, this is a major purchase, and whether it's 25,000, 10,000, all the way up to 500 and over $1 million, you want someone that's on your side, and that's what a real estate agent does.
Definitely. And just know, if you have any more questions, because this an hour, 45 minutes is really not enough time sometimes to go through your situation, because everybody's situation is totally different. Just give us a call, shoot us an email. We definitely would love to help you and do all that we can to make sure that you're taken. If it's not by us, we can always refer you. So just feel that we're here in your corner and helping you to get to that dream. Because remember one thing: if you have will, you have a way. My name is Will.
Bye, guys.